Hello everyone, welcome to Aptera Owners Club. In this video, I wanted to just kind of go over some recent EV stock news and go over the state of electric vehicles. So the big news today is that Sono Group, this is the group that makes the Sono Scion, which is the solar electric vehicle that we talked about in another video. I'll link it here in this corner. Had their IPO today. They IPO'd at $15 a share, and in its first day, they climbed from $15 a share to $38 a share. So people that got in on the IPO early, they more than doubled their money, and people that invested in Sono Group early are doing very well. So Sono Group has a lot of similarities with Aptera. You know, they're a small startup solar EV company, and they have not delivered any products as of yet. And looks like the market has quite a bit of appetite to fund those kinds of companies. So this bodes well for Aptera. So they're in the same group. Sono has not delivered any vehicles, and they're probably around the same place that Aptera is now. I almost think Aptera should probably IPO soon. The market is extremely hot for EV stocks at the moment, and I think if they went and IPO'd even without any deliveries of cars, they would do very well. So I don't know if I think what they're thinking, this is just my guess, is that they're thinking that if they IPO after they make a delivery, then they can raise a lot more capital, and they do need a lot of capital. So that's probably what they're thinking. But I'm hoping that there isn't like a huge market correction by the time they IPO, because a lot of people are saying that the market is hyperinflated. The real estate market is definitely hyperinflated, and inflation's kind of going up. There's a lot of supply chain issues. The global economy is a little tenuous right now, so there may be a large correction coming up in the future. And if they IPO after the correction, there just won't be much appetite for investors to put a lot of money in IPO. So in terms of timing, for the market, it's probably a good time for Aptera to IPO now. But in terms of them trying to raise capital, if as long as there isn't any huge market correction and investors don't get spooked, it probably is better for the company to wait later until they make some vehicles so they can get a higher valuation. But anyways, that's exciting news that Sono has IPO'd. They are traded on NASDAQ. If any of you guys want to get in on it, you can. Let me put a little caveat here. I have a horrible track record with with uh, with stocks. I mean, you're this is the guy that I sold Apple stock when it was $20 a share, thinking that that's all they had. And when Tesla hit the market, I said, that Tesla's not going anywhere. They're going to go bankrupt. Someone's going to buy them out really early or crush them in the competition. And Tesla was just way too risky. So yeah, my track record pretty much sucks. So take my advice for what it's worth. Okay, so Lucid Group is doing quite well. They IPO'd at $10 a share. They're up to about 55. Their vehicle, the Lucid Air, was recently rated as Motor Trend's Car of the Year, and it is a beautiful car. And if I was in the market for a $80,000 sedan, I would probably get the Lucid Air. Definitely would buy that over the Model S. Just me personally, I think it's just a better engineered car. And the reviews say that the fit and finish of the car is just way better than the Tesla Model S. Okay, and then looking at Rivian, obviously we've heard a lot about Rivian. Rivian and Lucid have both started deliveries. They've delivered a handful of vehicles. And look at this insane market capitalization. Lucid is a market capitalization of $71 billion. Rivian similarly has delivered just a handful of cars, and they have a market valuation of $110 billion. It's a little insane. Um, but you see that if people had invested in Rivian, they've done well. I can't get the thing. Okay. And then there's Canoe. So this is the company that's making that funny looking multi-purpose vehicle. They're pretty flat. They're having some issues. I haven't been following this company, so I don't know why it's doing this. This is a company that's pretty interesting for Aptera people in particular because both Aptera and Lordstown Motors are using Alafe hub motors. So that's like one thing that they have going on. They've been having a rough go of things because one of their prototypes it overheated during a race and could not finish the race, and they lost a possibility of a contract of delivering vehicles. Um, for the post office. That would have been a huge contract. So and they've been having some problems with their CEO being investigated by the SEC. So their CEO was ousted from the company, and so they were leaderless for a while. So they are definitely a depressed company. So they're trading at $5 a share, which is below their IPO price. Um, I think if they are planning to deliver vehicles next year, I think if they do deliver vehicles, we'll see this stock price rise, but it's pretty risky. I think personally, a pretty risky stock. I don't think that their troubles are because of the hub motors, but of course, since hub motors are a new technology, that is one of the concerns that many people have about Lordstown Motors. But I don't think that's their major concern. Still, this thing is valued at $1 billion. So having never delivered any vehicles, having a former CEO that's being investigated for securities fraud, it's still $1 billion. Here's Fisker. This is the other company. This you might remember Fisker was a company that was around during the first iteration of Aptera back in the about a decade ago, in around 2010. They made this car called the Fisker Karma. Then the company went bankrupt, and recently they've been revived, and they're making an all electric vehicle. They seem to be doing well. I haven't been following them very closely. All right, Nikola Motors. This is the company their former CEO and founder was ousted from the company, is being investigated, and is out on $100 million bail. He's being investigated for basically fraud and misleading investors and saying, kind of overstating what the company's been doing. So, they had a large fall from grace in 2000. So this is when they were, doing well, and they had all these tech demos. They make semi trucks that are run on fuel cells and batteries, and then they've crashed. Now they have factories and they're slated to start delivering actually this year. They will deliver a few semi trucks to I think to Anheuser-Busch this year. I I think this is maybe something if you're in the also a very risky thing, but if you're interested in this market, this which is the clean semi truck market, it may be a good option. Their valuation is $6 billion. Again, these people have not delivered any vehicles, and they were investigated. They are being investigated for fraud, but mainly that's from their previous founder and CEO who is no longer running the company or involved with the company. Um, and this is a market that is very popular. A lot of companies are trying to go to zero emissions, and semi truck market is important. And Amazon and many other companies are going to want clean semi trucks. Um, Amazon, Walmart, all those companies. So if they deliver vehicles and they work well, they have a factory in Arizona and in Europe. So this company could make a big rebound. So that's interesting. And one last company I kind of have been following peripherally is BYD. This is a company I heard about them like decades ago when Warren Buffett um, invested in them. They initially tried to bring some vehicles over to the United States back around a decade ago. That never really got off the ground, and I kind of lost track of them. But evidently, they're very successful. They're a very diversified company, and they build their own batteries, and they have a lot of different aspects of their business. And they've been delivering a lot of cars, and their EV sales have gone up like 210% in the past year, just not in the United States. And they are expanding to Europe now. And look, I wish I would have invested in them 10 years ago because they were trading around $3 and now they're up at like 70. So, turns out Warren Buffett does know what he's doing. He invested, I think, $300 million in them back when they were like less than $1 a share. So, yeah, he's doing quite well. This is a well-established company. They make money. They deliver lots of products. They're growing. This is probably uh, a pretty safe company to invest in, actually. Their market cap is 120, but let's see, price earnings ratio is 210. That seems pretty high. But then, of course, Lucid and Rivian have like no earnings, so they have their P ratios like infinite. Okay, but anyways, bottom line, uh, Sono Group went IPO. They're very similar to Aptera. They did very well in their IPO. Um, Overall, EV stocks are ridiculously valuated at this point. I'm not even putting in Tesla because Tesla's valuation is just insane. Um, And there are a couple of depressed stocks like Lordstown and Nikola Corporation, which may be worthwhile investing in. I think they're currently not overvalued, um, and they may be something to be interested in. BYD. Just full disclosure, I have no long position. I have no position in any of these companies. I'm just interested. Um, I do have a order in for Lucid. If it ever goes below $50 a share, I'm buying a little bit, probably. I really like their product, and I tend to use that as a metric. If I would buy their product, I'm thinking I would probably invest in the company too. But again, my track record of picking stocks is horrendous. Basically, if you do the opposite of what I do, you probably will make money, which does not bode well for all of you guys that are invested in Aptera, because I also invested in Aptera. And so that may not bode well for you because me investing in something seems to be the kiss of death. Okay, well, thanks for watching. I just was really excited about the Sono Motors IPO, so I wanted to make a quick video about it, and just excited that they are doing well. I wish them well. I hope they deliver that product. I think it's a great product for the market that they're looking into. Um, and I think this is a good sign for Aptera's future IPO.